as Charlie Crist and his friends in Congress were urging you to be locked down, I lifted you up.
You're the only governor in the history of Florida that shut down our businesses. I never did that as governor. You're the one who's the shutdown guy.
Now at 11, Governor Ron DeSantis and his Democratic challenger, Charlie Crist, face to face in the one and only gubernatorial debate.
Tonight, they confronted each other on a wide range of issues. There were some heated exchanges, everything from abortion to the immigration issue to affordable housing in the state of Florida. Good evening. I'm Todd McDermott.
And I'm Felicia Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. We have live team coverage tonight. You were there for the debate at the Sunrise Theater in Fort Pierce.
That's right, Felicia. This particular forum allowed for the candidates to load up claims about their successes and counterclaims about the other and fire them one after the other. Now, former Governor Crist started the debate with a recurring theme that Governor DeSantis has been somehow distracted while running the state.
We have a housing crisis in our state. Good luck buying a home. Good luck renting an apartment. And it's because Governor DeSantis has taken his eye off the ball.
You know, Charlie Crist has voted with Joe Biden 100% of the time to give us these inflationary policies and to drive up the cost of everything that we're doing.
They also sparred on pandemic policy, including the reopening of Florida when many other states did not.
I kept this state open and I kept this state free. And we now have the biggest budget surplus in the history of Florida.
You don't just shut down at the outset, and then when it's, politically convenient for you, you want to open back up to score political points for your race for president.
The immigration issue focused on the governor's Florida taxpayer-funded charter flights to take Venezuelan migrants from Texas to Massachusetts.
We have elites in this country that want to impose policies on you, but they don't want to have to suffer the same consequences that you may have to in your community. What we did, it's sad that it comes to this, but what we did put this issue front and center.
If you want to secure the border, you ought to support policies that actually will secure the border, like comprehensive immigration reform. When you were in Congress, you wouldn't do it because you like having it as an issue for political scoring in points that you want to have for a future campaign.
And finally came the question and answer of a kind on Governor DeSantis' future aspirations.
Will you serve a full 4-year term if you're reelected governor of Florida? It's not a tough question. It's a fair question. He won't tell you.
Well, listen, I know that Charlie's interested in talking about 2024 and Joe Biden, but I just want to make things very, very clear. The only worn-out old donkey I'm looking to put out to pasture is Charlie Crist.
The conversation also went further on the state of the economy and the plan going forward.
Our Angela Rozier is following Governor Ron DeSantis' campaign. She's at the Sunrise Theater in Fort Pierce for us tonight. Ange?
Well, abortion, economy, as well as homeowners insurance, just some of the topics discussed here tonight in downtown Fort Pierce. And people I talked to who are going to vote for Governor Ron DeSantis say they like what they heard. The governor again asked about the economy. He was also asked about his plan to reduce inflation. Now, the governor told voters we have the 5th lowest gas prices in the country, and he reminded them it's because of the gas tax holiday. He also talked about the policies he plans to implement if he is reelected.
What we're going to do for Floridians who commute, we're going to reduce tolls by 50% statewide for all commuters in the state of Florida. We are going to make all baby items, diapers, cribs, wipes, you name it, tax-free permanently in the state of Florida.
And he also says this is going to be the largest tax relief plan in the history of the state of Florida. We also are hearing from other issues that were brought up tonight with those voters, those issues, public safety, as well as parental rights. Now, supporters also say Governor DeSantis did an amazing job keeping people working during the pandemic. They also say the governor puts Florida families first. Todd, Felicia.
Angela, and as Angela mentioned, abortion was another issue at the forefront tonight.
In fact, even when the subject at hand wasn't abortion, Charlie Crist brought it up. Let's continue our team coverage with Terry Parker live in Fort Pierce. Terry.
That's right, guys, that Charlie Crist had one big issue in his pocket tonight, and that was abortion. Even when that wasn't the question, as you said, he kept coming back to it, hammering it over and over and over. And at one point, he even told us after the debate that his campaign staked so much on this issue that they packed this theater with 150 women wearing pink who were there because he says they were all disgusted by Governor Ron DeSantis' 15-week abortion ban. Right out of the gate, the first question was about Florida's housing crisis. Crist quickly sidestepped that and went straight to the abortion issue.
I wanted to start out by saying that you're going to see a stark contrast in this debate in this election. It's a stark contrast between somebody who believes in a woman's right to choose. I think that's fundamentally important. Governor DeSantis has signed a bill that would restrict that right, even in cases of rape or incest.
And Crist hammered on that topic over and over again. When an actual abortion ban question came up, DeSantis accused Crist of being in favor of no restrictions, sex-selective abortions, and taxpayer-funded abortions all the way up until the time of birth.
Ron, that's just not the truth, and you know it. You know it. He wouldn't answer your question. Do you want to ban abortion completely? He never got to it. He talked about Jamaica. I don't want to ban abortion. I want to make sure we keep a woman's right to choose available to the women of the state of Florida.
And so Crist did make that the centerpiece of his whole topic tonight. And he concluded by saying that he wants to unite Floridians, end divisiveness, and make sure that women keep the right to choose. Terry Parker, WPBF 25 News.
Thanks, Terry. Soon after sunrise tomorrow, we will be just 2 weeks away from Florida voters making their final choices. Today, the first day for early voting for Palm Beach, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties. Polls open for Martin County for early voting on Wednesday. Okeechobee County voters can cast their ballots starting Saturday. As a reminder, you have to bring a signed photo ID to vote.
And if you plan on voting by mail, you must request your mail-in ballot by this Saturday. More than 4 million Floridians were sent their mail-in ballots. Election officials say 1.1 million voters have already returned their ballots. More than 491 million of those ballots were from registered Democrats. Registered Republicans have returned more than 444,000 ballots, and 211,000 of those ballots have come from voters with no party affiliation.